Welcome to the coffee lecture. Today, Sumanghalyah Suntharam and Julia Wermelinger will talk about the BORIS Portal and what's new. Sumi and Julia are both in the Open Science team of the University Library in Bern.
Thank you so much, Eri, and welcome everybody to this coffee lecture today that will talk about BORIS Portal and what's new about it. So before we discuss the new functionalities, let's take a brief look back on what has happened so far. Since 2013, the University of Bern has been collecting all of its researchers' publications on a publication platform called BORIS Publications. This served as a university bibliography and also provided the basis for research evaluation. The underlying software is called ePrints. Since 2020, the university has also offered a platform for publishing projects and research data. This platform is called BORIS Portal. The portal is designed to close an important gap in the presentation of the research process, not only to enable the publication of results, but also to provide further information on the research process. BORIS Portal runs on DSpace Chris as a software. So since it became apparent a few years ago that ePrints would reach its so-called end of life, meaning it would no longer be renewed and developed, and there will no longer be hosts ready for this, the idea arose to migrate these two systems together. So this is what has now started in September, BORIS Portal with the integrated publication data. Since this is a rather complex undertaking with many dependencies, this process is not yet complete. So there will be a transition phase until January 2025. It is absolutely clear that no information has been lost and that we will restore all the functionalities. So just keep that in mind. Now, to BORIS Portal, to the new BORIS Portal. What does it contain? On the one hand, BORIS Portal offers the opportunity to publish results of the research process in a classical sense, publications, presentations, articles, blogs, and so on. But also research data that has been created within the process and would like to be made available for general reuse. In addition, Portal also offers the opportunity to present further information about the research process. In addition to project details and funding information, there is the option of mentioning all the participating researchers or organizations, also outside of the University of Bern. And this is a very good way to map collaborations and give those relevant participants and parties credits for their work. There is also the option of presenting further activities or mentioning awards that have been received for one's research. So one of the core ideas behind this is that a lot of this information is already available somewhere in the vastness, let's say, of the internet. So, for example, there are references in publication databases or search engines, and various data and information are stored in repositories such as Zenodo, for example. I am also thinking of conferences and their proceedings, which are usually stored on websites or databases. Then there are major research funding organizations, the EU, like Cordis here in the slide, or also the SNSF. They maintain their own databases with information about the research process and the funded projects. Some of you, as many do, researchers also have their own websites or blogs and that represent the activities on social or academic networks. And last not but least, a lot of information about the research process is also bundled in various administrative systems. So what is the idea of BORIS Portal? It is to collect and combine all this information from researchers of Bern and make it publicly available. Most of it already is publicly available, but is gathered throughout the web. So this should make the information more up to date and improve the quality. And the administrative burden should be minimized. On this point, I can already say that there is no obligation to enter data or project information, but it is like an offering to you. It's a platform where you can share this information. I will now hand over to Sumi, who will talk about it in details.
I would like to start by showing you in like a more technical term, I would say, the collections that we have in BORIS Portal. So when we talk about collections in BORIS Portal, we're essentially referring to the different types of research information that we gather and make available. So we have the collections publications, the project and funding information, and the research data. What's unique about this is how all this information is interconnected. So by linking publications, project, and data, we can present a comprehensive view of the research that is being conducted and its outcome itself. Now, let's take a closer look at each of these areas, starting with the publications. The University of Bern has a strong commitment to open access. We also do have an open access policy. This means all peer-reviewed and published research is recorded in BORIS Portal, and whenever legally possible, the full text is also made publicly accessible. This doesn't just benefit the scientist, it also ensures that research is visible and accessible to the society as a whole. But why is this focus on publications so important? There are two key reasons. One of them is that it's still a requirement for the University of Bern's research evaluation. This remains the same as for the old version, like the BORIS publications on ePrints. And the second reason is that it increases the reach and impact of research results, making it more likely to be noticed, shared, and cited. Of course, publications are just one part of the story, and I would like to move on to research data collection. And as you may know, in recent years, sharing and publishing research data has become increasingly important. This is done according to the FAIR data principles. The data should be findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable. Research funders such as the Swiss National Science Foundation and the EU, that Julia already has mentioned as well, now also require the data to be published if it's an output of a publication. So BORIS Portal offers the option of assigning a DOI to each research data in order to facilitate citation and the long-term use of the data itself. On this note, I'd also like to mention our data stewards, our colleagues, Dr. Olga Churakova, Dr. Christine Krebs, and Dr. Martin Beckmann, support researchers in the fields of medicine, veterinary, human, and natural sciences. So they can be your first point of contact when there are any questions regarding correctly storing, documenting, and publishing your data. And they are very happy to help you also figuring out how you can upload your data on BORIS Portal. While research data is a vital collection in BORIS Portal, it's also important to think about how projects themselves are documented. BORIS Portal allows researchers to document their projects, showing who is involved, what are they working on, and which funding sources support the project. This is especially useful for interdisciplinary and international collaborations. So by linking those projects to the related publications or research data, BORIS Portal paints a complete picture of the entire research process that you may have. So, why does this interconnected approach matter? Let's look at some of the benefits. First of all, it meets the requirement of funding organizations, as I've mentioned before, such as for the SNSF or the EU. Then it links the related information, publication, research data, and funding details, and this makes it easy to navigate as well. Furthermore, it promotes the visibility, not just in academia, but also in business and society. Last but not least, the Open Science team of the University of Bern is always ready to provide personalized support, as I've already mentioned, the data steward as well, and also the whole Open Science team is there to support the researcher to make the most of the system, but also to help you make your research publicly available. You might also be asking yourself who else might be benefiting from this work. So BORIS Portal does serve a wide audience, and while researchers are the primary users, many others might benefit as well, such as companies looking for collaborations, media reporting on new breakthroughs, funding institutions, but also government and even society at large. And this makes BORIS Portal a valuable resource, not only for the University of Bern, but also for the research community. Let's be a little bit more specific. Here you can see a screenshot. I hope you can see a little bit of it. Here's a specific example of the project called Urban Climate Bern, of which Professor Stefan Rönnimann is the principal investigator of. And you can see that there are lines that are mostly the metadata of the project itself. So when did the project start? Who are the people who are involved in this project and so on. And on the right side, you can also see the screenshot of all the relations that the project has. So there are related publications, related products, which means research data, and also related funding. So in this view, you basically see everything that can be added to the project, and it shows like the whole research information that can be gathered for it. Here, it's another screenshot, and this time it's the research data collection, and the DOIs that have been assigned to this research data can, of course, be shared and used for citation. And those research data items are related to the project that is called Urban Climate Bern. And here's also the same thing for publications as well. As you can see, once you have created a project, you can link all its outcome, such as dataset and publication to it, but also add the information of who you have collaborated with, who is the contact person that you may need to get in touch with if you want to use the research data, and so on. Let's also take a quick look at the dashboard. This is a bit repetitive maybe, but once you are logged in BORIS Portal, you need a campus account or a faculty account. You can access your dashboard on BORIS Portal, where you can see you can add publications, research data, funding, and projects. To wrap this up, I want to also show you one last slide of one of the system's great strengths that is supported by numerous identifiers that we have in our repository. This does not only apply to publications, but also projects, researchers, and organizations. For example, as you have seen, publications and research data gets assigned a DOI once it's published. Every researcher is recommended to get an ORCID so that every researcher is also uniquely identifiable. And every external organization gets a persistent identifier through ROR, the Research Organization Registry. This facilitates the unambiguous identification and the linking of the various research information, and this ensures that everything can be properly and correctly referenced to each other. And with that, I would like to say thank you on both of our behalf. And if there are any questions or comments, please feel free to contact us, and we are very happy to help.